I'm going to put my notes in front of me here so that I can make sure that I give you exactly the right information and I'm not doing it from memory. So, the things specifically, this is a list of things that can help you prevent infections and guard you against bacteria and viruses. Now, I am not making any claims here. I'm not a medical doctor. This is information that I learned over a period of time, having researched, trying to get rid of my own multiple infections that I kept getting, recurrent infections. And so over time, I found things that worked, and that's what I'm sharing with you. And this is my personal experience, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. It's my personal experience. So, and I make no claims about it being specifically, these things specifically helping with any specific virus, although I do know that many of these old-time health remedies, some of these are old-time health remedies and have been known to combat many different types of bacteria and viruses in our history. And so this is just good all-around immune boost information. So obviously, one of the first things that you can do to help your immune system is to wash your hands and your face before and after each meal. Now, the reason for this is because as you go throughout the day, you're touching anything and everything. And, the stuff gets, you scratch your skin, you touch things, stuff gets underneath your fingernails, you touch your face. So anytime that before you eat, before you have any contact with your digestive system, you need to make sure to wash your hands so that you're not spreading anything from your hands into your digestion. The reason to wash after you eat is so that any food particles that may or may not have gotten on your face or on your hands while you're eating ends up not breeding bacteria under your fingernails or on your face or whatever over time if you forget to wash your face and clean yourself after you eat. So a remedy that I read and I have used personally and I've given to my children and I've given to my pets whenever they've been sick. My sisters and brothers have been given it when they were small, and it's used in hospitals according to what I've found. It's an old-time remedy, but it's also used in certain situations in hospitals, is activated charcoal. Now, activated charcoal is charcoal that's been burned at a high temperature so that it has more air bubbles in it, so it catches more things on the microscopic level. So what you do with this activated charcoal versus regular charcoal, which I would imagine different types, there's different types of charcoal, so I'm talking about activated charcoal. You mix it in water and let it settle, and then you can drink the water off of that. Now, what that does is that activated charcoal goes throughout into your digestive system, and things that don't necessarily belong there will end up getting attached to it and then being taken out through your digestive system and expelled naturally. Now, another thing that you can take that's very good to take, and it's something that's found in Airborne. A lot of people know about Airborne. Well, two of the things that are found in Airborne, if you look on the back of the bottle, is zinc and vitamin C. Now, zinc is known to tell your cells to be on alert and to make them stronger during the immune response. Vitamin C also is something that helps with immune response. So mixing those two things together in, say, that particular product gives your body an extra boost when it comes in contact with some type of airborne pathogen or bacteria, it gives your body that extra boost to be able to fight it. But again, vitamin C is another one that you can take. And generally what I do, and this is based on reading multiple things, I tend to take 3, because it's water soluble. If you get too much, your body will dump out most of it. So if you don't need it, if you do need it, then it grabs onto it and it uses it. So personally, what I do is if I start feeling cold or ill in any way, I take 2,000 milligrams twice a day for 3 days. And then I take 2,000 for the next 4 days. And that gives my body that extra boost. Now, based on what I've read, you can take quite a bit of vitamin C. But, you know, too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. But generally, if you don't need it, your body will, because it's water soluble, it will expel it naturally without too much problem. Now, another thing that I ran into is something called Pau d'Arco tea, and that's spelled P-A-U, Pau d'Arco, D with a, well, I'm just going to show you because it's hard to, it's called Pau d'Arco tea. And apparently it's a type of bark that you can get that tends to help with illnesses. And it's been a traditional long-term remedy for thousands of years in different areas of the world. And of course, you know, drinking anything kind of hot tea right now is probably a good thing. 1, because you're getting extra water, and 2, because things that are known to boost your immune system are really good right now. Okay, so soaking in Epsom salts and rock salt bath. I do this regularly, and I have found it to be very, very helpful, not only because it cleans your body, and also because we soak up moisture and water through our skin, so we help ourselves become more hydrated, which helps us to expel anything that is not good for us in our bodies. And, you know, if we have extra lactic acid, if we're having muscle problems, muscle spasms, anything like that, the Epsom salts and rock salt bath helps to pull out toxins, lactic acids, and just relaxes the muscles, especially in a hot bath, and also helps you become rehydrated. And Epsom salts is magnesium sulfate, and of course salt is sodium chloride. So those are sodium, magnesium, and specifically sodium and magnesium are things that we tend to lose a lot of, and we don't get as much in our food as we need as far as the magnesium goes. And then also we lose a lot of sodium as we're sweating. And so both things are important to stay hydrated, to stay with our electrolytes in balance, and to keep our muscles from cramping up. I tend to, when I do a an Epsom salts and salt bath, rock salt bath, I do 2 to 3 cups of each, and I soak for about 20 minutes, and that generally helps. It has even helped to relieve some of my headaches. Certain types of headaches, like tension headaches, I find relief when I do that. So the next thing is if you cut down on your sugar intake. From the research that I've found, sugar compromises the immune system. Now, the technical ways in which it does, I'm not going to try to explain that right now, because what you really just need to know is that sugar compromises your immune system. It makes it so that your cells are less able to fight off bacteria and virus attack. So the less sugar you have in your diet, the better you're going to be. And it also creates an acidic environment, which also creates problems in different ways. So the less sugar, the better. Now, I'm not saying cut all sugar. I'm saying cut down, because it's so important right now for our immune systems not to be compromised. Okay, the next thing, and this is so important. Remember earlier I told you that I had been diagnosed, one of the things that happened while I was in the military, I was diagnosed with sleep deprivation. Well, that is pretty serious. I also had restless leg syndrome, which was not the cause of the sleep deprivation, but certainly added to it. And because of that, I had to do a lot of research on how to make up for sleep, which, generally you really can't make up for lost sleep. Your body is compromised and your cells are breaking down because they're not able to rebuild at night. And so trying to catch up that extra hour on Saturday or Sunday doesn't really help. But what I did learn a lot about sleep after realizing how important it is. So what I learned from my research was to try to sleep or at least lay down, because when you're up and active, your body isn't healing itself. When you're laying down and or sleeping, your body is in healing mode. So lay down and or sleep as best you can for at least 7 hours a night. Now, if you can't lay down for whatever reason, like you have back pain and you can't lay down for that long, try to lay down at some point during the day to make up for that however many hours you've lost. So if you can only lay down for, say, 6 hours at a time, and laying down longer causes you problems, try to lay down for at least an hour at some other point in the day so that you get at least 7 hours of rest. The body needs time to repair, and it only does that when you're in rest mode. So this is very important. Your body can't heal itself. It can't send out your immune soldiers, which are your white blood cells. It can't do so many of the other things. It can do that in the daytime some, but it cannot do it at its optimal levels unless you are in rest mode. So that's very important.